Hey everybody, Jason Sherman here. In today's episode of Zero to CEO, I speak to the founder of Camping.Tools, Robert McMillan. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
Not bad, man. And we're going to talk about building startup success and customer value. So, Camping.Tools, I mean, I see it in your background. For our listeners who are not watching this, you have an RV behind you, and I'm just going to assume here that you're a big camper.
That's it. That's what I love.
And what actually, before we talk about anything else, what got you into it? Because during the pandemic, I looked into camping as a way to get out of the house, but I never really pulled the trigger. It seemed like everybody was kind of trying to buy an RV or looking to buy an RV. Some people did, and they found out how hard they are to manage because it's not like a car. What are the ups and downs that you see?
Oh man, ups and downs.
Yeah, pros and cons. Like what would make someone like buy an RV or rent an RV or not buy one or not rent one, and like what should people know before they start to do it?
Yeah, the total upside is mobility, comfort. Just imagine you had a nice hotel room that you can drive around the country and see phenomenal sights and not have to move your bags all over the place. You don't have to go through check-in and, TSA. Everything's just there. It's nice.
I definitely don't like the security lines in TSA. That's a pain. But at the same time, you have to be able to drive one of these things, right? They're pretty big or trail, with a trailer, and you also have to maintain them, right? Like the gray water and the black water. I was really looking into that. It seemed a little difficult. Maybe I'm wrong.
Really, there's a process definitely, and seasonally things will change. Like you have to winterize and that, but the upkeep is not too bad. It's probably per year, a couple of hours of effort, and on a per trip basis.
Okay.
You may be talking, if you're frequent like I do, I can be 15, 20 minutes per trip on the front end and on the back end of each stay. So, there's the whole prep process where you get the RV ready.
Right.
But then when you go to a location, you got to set up, connect your electric, your water and sewage and all of that.
Right.
It really doesn't take long at all once you get the hang of it. And I would recommend, when you go somewhere, you want to stay a couple of days, rather than try to do it on a daily basis, because it can get a little annoying if you're,
right,
setting up, moving,
it up, hooking it up, unhooking it. And then I did a lot of research about that. I didn't know this, but you have to also pay to stay at these RV parks as well, right? There's like a daily rate maybe?
If you stay at a private or a state or federal location, yeah, but there's a tremendous upside to that when you go out west. West of the Mississippi, there's a multitude of sites that are what we call dispersed camping. And so that's with your Bureau of Land Management, some national parks, national forest. It's free camping. So you can go for 2 weeks and stay in one location for 14 days and not pay a dime. So that's pretty amazing. But the downside to that is that you have to be self-sufficient. There's no electricity. There's no water.
Oh, wow. That's
so
tough.
You're either solar off the grid and carrying your own water, or
a real renegade. I'm a MacGyver of sorts. I was kind of weighing my options. Like I said, during the pandemic, I also kind of saw, okay, so I rent or buy an RV. There's costs associated with that we just talked about. And then there's also Airbnb and hotels. I can drive or fly to, Charlotte, in South Carolina and say, hey, I'm just going to rent a hotel, walk around, eat some food, and then go to the next place and keep doing that. And I'm like, what's more expensive in the long run? I'm trying to figure out. And it came out to be almost the same, but the freedom of the RV was the point, right? Like you can just kind of go from place to place and sleep in the RV and stay in the RV. But what are your thoughts on that?
I think east of the Mississippi, it's going to be about the same. I think west of the Mississippi, because of the dispersed camping and free options, you can save a lot of money.
Okay. So there is a savings.
Yeah.
So did you start Camping.Tools to kind of answer these questions that I'm asking you? Because a lot of people ask me those questions, or was there something else behind it? Like, what was the day you said to yourself, I want to start this for this reason? What was it?
I was sitting in my backyard around a bonfire contemplating what I'm going to do with the next phase of my life, right? Because my kids are getting out of college, and you know, I want to do something fun
Hmm.
was one criteria.
Okay.
You always have this, everybody's like, follow your passion, man. Just do what you're passionate about. I'm like, what the heck is that? Because I'm like ADD on my,
That's such
fun
a
side.
common, such a common thing, right? Like
Yeah.
you start
So,
taking guitar lessons, you know?
and it really dawned on me, it is like an epiphany. It's like, where does your head go when you don't want to be somewhere else?
Mm,
And that I kept going back to, man, I want to go camping here. I want to go camping there. And that was it for me. I was like, all right, I'm going to do camping. It's going to be something around camping.
okay.
And that's where it came from.
And like how, so okay, so you had this idea of building something around camping, but maybe you didn't know what exactly. What was the moment that you had a catalytic, like the catalyst, the moment that said to yourself, oh, wait, this is a business? And then how did that kind of, come to fruition?
So the tools that you get in Camping.Tools are like planning tools, social tools, manage your packing list. And those were the culmination of things that I wanted in an app that I could
Mm,
not find in one place.
hmm.
And I did my market research, and I'm like, I've been building enterprise systems for like 25 years.
Nice.
And I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to build it. And then I was like, well, there may be something here, it's like maybe other people want this too. And so I prototyped it, and I went to an RV show. I went to the Hershey RV show in Pennsylvania, which is titled, America's largest RV show, 13 football fields of RVs and
Wow.
70,000 people in a week.
I'm in Pennsylvania. I haven't heard of that, but it sounds
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's a great, great event. um, but I talked to probably 10,000 people in one week.
Whoa.
And, I did a vendor booth and had a monitor and just talked to people. And 98% were like, awesome idea. I would use that.
Okay. So you got the
So
customer feedback you needed.
that's when I said, there's a business here.
Got it. And and you brought up a great point. You said that you couldn't find a place or an app that had everything in one place. And coming from someone who knew nothing about RVs but was interested when I was on lockdown in 2020, I immediately did what everyone else does, and you go to the internet and you start searching for RV reviews and blogs. So I found so many blogs, YouTube videos, TikTok videos, Instagram videos, review sites. And I had to go to like 75 different things, and I got different opinions from different people about different things, but I learned a lot. But it did take a long time to gather
Yeah.
all of that. So what you're saying is you put all of that into one place and made it more effective?
Yeah. And that was my frustration as well. It's like the hyper fragmented market.
Yeah.
And we're like, there needs to be a hub.
That's a
So,
that's a great point. So once you did that, once you established that you had this, because you got customer feedback, you validated your concept. This is all startup 101. What was your next move?
commitment, a decision to burn the boats and go all in.
So you really did. Okay, so you you built this enterprise system that started getting users to pay for a subscription, or was it free at first?
Yeah, we start off with free, and then we went to a subscription, and now we're going to roll it back and have a free level and a premium level.
And that you found out from users or like data analysis, or like what made you do that?
All of that, yeah. It was users,
Interesting.
data analysis, the rate of new customer acquisition, the market standard, if you will. There's a lot of freemium sites out there, and
There are, yeah.
people are just kind of used to that culturally speaking. Um,
Are you
and
are you finding that your app, your platform is useful enough to people that they don't have to get what they need and then stop paying and then go somewhere else to get other info? Like, what's the story with that?
so we definitely don't have everything, but we're upfront. Like one of the things that we do is we track waypoints and where you visited because we can associate those locations to your images. And one of the problems that we solve is where are all my photos? I remember taking this picture on this trip. If in like a standard photo manager, it's basically a date timestamp and you're like constantly
Yeah,
scrolling. So
scrolling around.
there's some
This is more location
self-organization,
based.
but it's that kind of feedback that we get um, about those features that people like, but then they say, "Oh, so you do waypoints," and their mind immediately goes to, "Oh, so you route me on where I go and you know how to get to my next location." I'm like, "No, no, no, we don't do trip routing. We capture where you went."
Right. Got it.
And so there's a big, probably one of the biggest challenges that we have is the awareness thing. What we first of all that we're out there. B is what we have and what we don't have, and just making the customers aware of how to use our tool to fill a big gap, but it doesn't solve all the problems.
Right. So it sounds like it's a very niche kind of solution for certain aspects of the RV market, camping market. Makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned challenge that you faced a couple of challenges. Let's say that you have someone listening to this right now and they're like, "Oh, I'm at that point in my life where I want to follow my passion." What are maybe the two or three things you would say to them to focus on to figure out what that is and how to build it? Maybe some mistakes you made you want to avoid?
Yeah, I mean the first thing is that passion. And I tell my kids this, you do whatever you love to do. The most critical thing is that you've got to be better at it than anybody else.
Mm,
And if you are, the money will come.
become an expert.
Yeah, you've got to be the top at what you do. And as long as you can do that, I think you'll be successful. But another piece of advice is the grit and determination factor is off the charts. There have been so many times where you're like, should I go? Should I hang it up? It's got a lot in it. I don't see
It's
it,
tough.
but the faith that you have to have as an entrepreneur to get to the next level. I mean, sometimes you go right up to the edge of the cliff and you don't know if your next step is going to lead to success or doom. And you got to put your foot out there anyway.
I hope it's not doom. It reminds me of that scene from Indiana Jones where he has to take faith and take the step over the invisible bridge.
That is exactly it.
That's what it
That's
reminds me of,
exactly
and
it.
that's very very similar in this entrepreneurship world. And something that people should hear from you is you mentioned that you went to this RV conference with 10,000 people in my home state, and I think it's very interesting because a lot of people don't do that. They just put out a couple ads or they post some stuff on social media and wonder why no one uses their platform or their product. And I'm like, you got to get out on the streets. It still matters to be human and be in person and shake someone's hand and show your product in person. It just means that much more. And you're going to get in-person feedback, like you said, 10,000 people. So you did that, which is amazing. And everyone should hear this and they should do that. What are the other things you've done to get, awareness to your product and your platform?
Something I didn't pick up on until later was, real PR.
Mm,
I hired a PR team and they're phenomenal. Um, but we are going for professional investment. So that's one thing. And you have to put yourself in the minds of people that are going to be referencing you or looking for you. First thing an investor's going to do is Google you.
right.
It's going to Google your product. If you don't show up, they're gone.
Yeah.
So PR and getting the right message out is really critical. And getting in as many places as possible is critical because even users, when they pull you up, they don't know if it's a scam site or, you want me to sign up and give you what? I don't think so. So
Yeah. You could be someone in another country for all we know.
PR is critical. It gives you a level of legitimacy and domain authority that you're not able to get. And again, on the whole domain authority thing, as you're building your site and you're pitching it or you're trying to gain SEO recognition on searches, if you don't have that domain authority, you're gonna have a tough road.
Great advice. Hope you guys take that advice and use it. Use your passion, get your customer feedback in person, and then get that credibility that you need online for sure. And Robert, it's Camping.Tools, right?
Camping.Tools.
And you guys check it out if you're getting a little antsy in the house and you want to get out on the road and find some campsites and really kind of explore a bit. Camping.Tools, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll see you in the next one.